Creative Living, utilizing today's technology with the best of the past to bring you innovative ideas and up-to-date information for creative lifestyles in today's active world. With your host, Sheryl Borden.
I'm so glad you joined me today for Creative Living. We're going to learn how to prepare some one-pot meals on a budget, demonstrate some blending techniques for no-bake polymer clay, and share some recipes using grapefruit sections. One of my guests is Bonnie Matthews, and she's the co-founder of Freeka Foods. Bonnie says that all-natural Freeka is a great way for busy Americans to eat a nutritious meal without spending too much time cooking or washing dishes. She's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Another guest is Ann Butler, and she's a designer and crafter, and she's going to show how to use a no-bake polymer clay in assorted colors to create variegated clay sheets. Then she'll show how to create postcards, bracelets, frames, and much more. Her company is Ann Butler Designs, and she lives in Villard, Minnesota. And we'll begin the show today with Alicia Ensign, who represents Texas Sweet Citrus Marketing. Alicia will show lots of different ways you can use a grapefruit section. She's from Mission, Texas. Alicia, it's really nice to have you here, and I've learned so much about grapefruit since you've been coming. I just cut it and eat it and don't think too much about it. But I do know that we need lots of servings of fruits and vegetables every day, and this is such a good way to get it.
Absolutely. In one grapefruit, you get all of your vitamin C that you need for the entire day. Actually, that's in a half a grapefruit.
Oh, a half?
Yes. So you get your double vitamin C if you eat the whole thing. And it also has vitamin A, it has dietary fiber, and this grapefruit is the Rio Star grapefruit from Texas, and it has lycopene because it's a very red grapefruit. You know, lycopene is found in red fruits and vegetables like tomatoes and watermelon and red grapefruit.
Oh, so lycopene, and that's good for us too.
Absolutely.
Now, I noticed the one you're holding, and I was kind of surprised because you usually bring the prettiest ones I've ever seen. This one has a little scarring on it.
Yeah, and I actually specifically picked this one to talk to you about that.
Oh,
Yeah, whenever you're picking a grapefruit and you see this scarring on the outside, you may think, oh, I don't want that specific one. But actually, this scarring is caused by just wind during the growing time, and little leaves and twigs will scratch up against that baby grapefruit.
So it does nothing.
Yeah, it's caused by wind. So we call them tropical beauty marks because
like that.
It doesn't hurt the fruit inside. It just causes a little exterior blemish on the outside.
So don't worry about it.
This fruit is just perfect. So what I'd like to do today is to talk to you a little bit about how to use grapefruit sections, because once you cut them out of the fruit, they become so versatile, and you can do so many different things with them.
Okay, let's see how.
Yeah, so first I want to cut a grapefruit. You want to put both ends out on the outside and cut off each end. And it looks like you're losing a little bit of your fruit, but it's just a small amount to be able to get to what's really important and tasty inside. And then I want to take the knife and cut off all this rind. And you want to include that white membrane. You don't want to leave that on there because that part is tart and a little bitter. So you're getting down to the sweetness right here. And so you'll just take your knife and run it right.
How juicy that
I know.
one is.
They're so juicy. And the grapefruit sections just slide right out.
So you're going on each side of the membrane.
Yeah, what I do is actually cut down, see, and when you get to the bottom, I use my thumb, and it pulls right out. Yeah, so you're not losing any of the fruit by doing that. And so I love to do this like on Sundays. I'll buy a big bag of grapefruit, and then I cut them up so that I can have snacks during the week, and I put them in Ziploc baggies. So it's 120 calories in a little Ziploc bag.
Oh, we can make our own 100-calorie snacks.
And that way your kids are getting fresh fruit, but it's in a contained portion, controlled amount.
Yeah, because the cutting it up is the time-consuming part.
It takes about 2 minutes if you're proficient at it. So I do it pretty quickly, but once you get used to it, it's really easy to do.
So cut them up at one time.
Exactly. And another thing I'd like to show you is just an easy salad that you can throw together really quickly using grapefruit. Would you mind handing me that big bowl? Thank you. So we're going to start off with, this is actually butter lettuce, but you can use any type of lettuce that you'd like. And then we're going to add in, of course, our grapefruit sections here, and you just kind of
section them.
Yeah, we just
you don't even need to go back and cut those in half. Just leave them.
Yeah, you can do it with your fork. And then we just roasted some pecans. And you just put it in the skillet and don't add anything to it. It just kind of brings out
just the heat.
Yeah, the heat, and it brings out a really great flavor. So let me also add in some dried cranberries.
Oh,
yeah,
this
just
is
a
pretty.
little bit. It's so colorful and flavorful. And then also I'd like to add in some avocado chunks. And then a little bit of salt and pepper, just for a little bit of flavor there. And then any dressing that you like. This is a sesame seed dressing. And I, specifically don't like a lot of dressing. I think it overpowers the flavors of it.
So you could serve it on the side.
Serve it on the
Let
side,
people
or
just add it if
put
they
a little
want
bit, there. And so that is such an easy.
That is so
put together,
fast.
and it's so flavorful and colorful and very tasty. And you're getting lots of, freshness
Well,
in
the
this.
avocados are so good for us.
Yeah.
The toasted pecans gives us some protein,
Exactly.
which salads don't normally have.
And then you have your grapefruit for that acidic kind of pop. And then I have a couple of other little recipes I'd like to talk to you about. Another way to use grapefruit
And
sections.
this is the one that's already
Yes,
prepared and
exactly.
ready for us to
Ready
eat.
to
Got
eat.
it.
Now, this is actually my favorite little recipe. I never thought chocolate and grapefruit really were a good combination. They're amazing together. I had no idea. You know how you dip strawberries in chocolate?
Yeah,
Well, you buy that same exact chocolate, heat it up in the microwave, and you cut your sections. And I actually dry these on a paper towel because you saw how juicy
Right,
they
they
were.
are juicy.
You want to get all that extra juice off. And then you just kind of take your spoon and drizzle the chocolate on there and then top it with some coconut.
Oh my gosh.
These are Rio Star poppers. That's our
I
chocolate
am
poppers.
ready to try those.
So good. And then a
Okay.
simple fruit salad with just grapefruit, Texas oranges, fresh cut pineapple, and
grapes.
Yeah. So you just throw that together, a simple little fruit salad with citrus.
And and sometimes I think it's just if you put anything in a pretty serving container, it just really makes it even that much better.
Sometimes it's about the presentation.
It really is. Thank you very much. I'm ready to try your favorite poppers.
You're going to love them.
And thank you so much for being with us today. I just loved looking over your samples and thought you were bringing pieces of paper to, like for scrapbooking, but this is really clay.
Yeah.
How did you get started doing this?
Well, I wanted to try polymer clay, but I didn't want to go through the baking and everything,
Oh,
so I
yeah.
found no-bake polymer clay. And it's easy because, you do it, you let it dry, it's done.
No baking. I
No
love
baking.
that. And now you have a clay machine, a
Yep.
roller, but we don't have to. So
You don't have to. I'm going to show you how you can use just a roller also. This just speeds it up.
Well, let's show some samples because when I saw this, I thought it was scrapbook paper. I really did.
Thank you. Yeah, it's clay and it's blended. I just took the colors and blended them together, rolled it to make it really thin. These ones up here are die cut, and these ones I cut out. These are postcards. They actually go through the mail, and they don't rip, they don't tear.
I can't believe that. That's amazing. And look how tiny. You cut little teeny tiny pieces.
Yep, I used a punch for those.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, let's show something else that would be fun to do, lettering.
Yeah, this is my granddaughter, and so that's her name, and I just used a die cut again and framed her with the clay.
How cute. I guess there's not much you can't do. If you can do
No.
it with paper, you can do it with the clay.
Definitely.
This is a little book that you made the cover
Yep.
using the clay.
I stamped on it. I stamped an image and glued it on and punched some stars.
Okay. And headbands?
Headbands.
Great idea. I bet your granddaughter will love wearing all of these.
Yes.
Another one, and this one has the blended flowers
Yep.
cut out just to kind of further enhance it. This is a little notepad,
Yep.
but the entire cover has been made out of the clay sheets.
Yeah, the entire thing is the clay.
And I wanted to pick this up so you could show us. This is a bracelet.
Yep, it's a wooden bangle.
Oh,
And I wrapped the clay around it, and then I die cut flowers and I scrunched them up to give them that texture and put them together and
So
glued
it
them
didn't
on.
crack. I would have thought that
Didn't
it would have
crack.
cracked.
No,
Oh.
it's amazing.
It really is. That's pretty. Now, you were talking a bit ago about stamping. Here's just an example. So we can use our scrapbooking stamps. It doesn't take anything special.
Nope, you need a special ink.
And, oh,
You
the
know, a
ink.
solvent ink so it doesn't smear.
A solvent ink. So be sure we use the right thing because, yeah, the smearing. You'd
Yep.
hate to make something beautiful and then have it
I know.
mess up. Hopefully we can show this. These are just some examples of letters, but again, I was amazed that you could die cut something as small as those little tiny stars.
Yeah, how intricate you can get.
Yeah.
And this is the clay. You can see how flexible it is.
But you can tear it, like if we
You
wanted
can tear
kind of
it.
that rough edge.
Yep, you can tear
Oh.
it.
That's amazing.
But yet,
And it makes a nice, you could use your dies on that too,
Yep.
couldn't you, on your edges?
Yep, you could
Okay,
do-
these, it's called Make
Makin's clay.
And it's a Polymer clay, you
It's
said.
a no-bake polymer clay.
Okay, that's what we need to look for.
Right, and it comes in a package. It comes double wrapped because it's air dry. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want it to dry.
And there's lots of different colors. We're just showing a few.
Yeah, this is. It comes in solid color packages and multicolor packs.
Okay.
So to do the technique, I like to use a no-stick scissors, and I just cut the clay right open and peel to peel that off.
Oh, okay.
And then when you're not using the clay, like when you're working in your studio, you want to take the extra clay and place it in a baggie with a baby wipe.
For the moisture,
Right.
to add moisture to it.
Or
Oh,
you can
good
just
tip.
throw a towel over it.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
something to keep it moist. But I can keep it in a baggie for, I've had it up to 6 months. You know,
It'll last that
Yep,
long.
with a baby wipe in it, it just helps it.
Good idea. And I guess there's no limit. Here you mostly use 2 colors or 3.
That was 2 colors.
Two
that
colors.
was pink and yellow.
What's the most you've ever made?
I usually use like 5.
5. Oh,
You know,
okay.
that's where, I don't even have a sample of it right here. But I've used up to 5. Today we'll use 3.
Okay.
But yeah, just always make sure you put the extra into,
I always think this is
Baking.
sort of medicinal, you know, therapy, when you need to knead these
You
things
don't.
together.
touch it.
Oh,
You
it's
don't-
already kneaded.
It is so
soft.
soft. That's how it comes out of the package. There is no
Oh.
conditioning
So how do you
needed.
blend them? How do you
All
mix it
I
together?
do-
That's fun.
I take and I push these together
Oh,
like this. And I just form a little log, and then I kind of
flatten it a little
flatten
bit.
it a little bit to put it in to the clay machine. And on this clay machine, 1 is the widest.
Okay, and so you want to start wide and
Yep.
gradually flatten it more.
Yep, so
Just like a
these
wringer
have-
washing machine.
And they have nonstick rollers. So, you know, your clay's not going to stick and gum up in there. But I just take it and
fold it each time.
And then I go down in size. And it starts to blend.
And I can see it's getting a little thinner each time.
Yep. And you can do it, like I said, you can do it, you don't have to have a clay machine. You can do it with the roller also.
Just can't get
Same
it quite
technique.
as thin.
Right, and there you would just roll it. And just keep,
It's like making pie dough, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And you can get it as thin as you need to. The cool thing about this is if you go the opposite way, it makes it longer.
Oh, so kind of think about what you're going to make, like that bracelet. That's probably what you did with it, wasn't it?
But I want it blended more, so then I just fold the clay up onto itself.
I guess you just kind of learn this with the practice.
Yeah, just playing around. Playing around is the best way
Oh,
to
good.
try to figure out new things. And you just continue to blend it until you get what you want. And when you're working with it, because it is a no-bake clay, you want to let it dry
Just lay it out on it.
completely because there's some shrink.
And there's, I can feel the moisture. It's very nice
Yeah.
feeling.
So because there's some shrink to it, I let it dry a few hours, depending upon how thick, up to overnight.
Okay, and to show how thin this is, I can actually see through to
Yeah.
your cutting board. That is very thin, just like paper.
And this is a piece that isn't quite as thin. This one I did with the clay roller.
Oh,
So, but you can see how flexible it is.
and we can cut it, like you say, with the non-stick scissors.
Yeah.
Those work well.
And because you wait until it's done
dry.
shrinking, you can use a mat and a Sharpie or a pen to mark your lines and cut just inside.
Inside that.
So-
Well, that's a good tip, because if we didn't realize it would shrink, then we might make our design and it wouldn't fit whatever we were going on.
Right, I mean, because if you're going for like, this is an ATC card. If you're going for that
Artist trading card. I
Yes.
learned what that meant.
2.5 by 3.5.
They have to be that size.
Yep, and if you cut it before it's done drying, it might be 2 1/4.
I see.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
you wait until it dries, but it cuts like butter. Sometimes when it dries, the edges curl up, but that's kind of a cool look. But if it curls up too much, I throw a book on it, flatten it
and
right
set
out.
it overnight or something. Good idea. Well, this is
Yeah.
such a fun project. I think everybody will want to try it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, Ann.
Thanks.
Bonnie, it's really nice to have you here, and everything smells so good. You work with a strange sounding product. It's a grain. It's called freekeh. And how in the world did you get associated with this?
You know, I discovered it a while back when I was doing food demo at Trader Joe's, and I learned about this little grain that's really high in fiber and protein, and not many people had heard about it in this country, and I started eating it, and I love it because it's got so much fiber, and it's a great alternative to rice.
And in fact, it's prepared just like you would rice, isn't it?
Yep. You just put in 2.5 cups of water for one bag, and it.
This is the size bags.
Yep. And it cooks up, makes 4 servings per bag, so it's great.
And can it be cooked up ahead of time and then frozen or kept in the refrigerator for a while?
Absolutely, yeah. You can keep it on hand, and if you've got like a little bit of leftover chicken or vegetables, just throw it in with whatever spices, and you've got yourself another lunch for the next day.
And I noticed in reading your cookbook, you can make everything from salads to sweet recipes to cooking with chicken or beef or whatever.
Absolutely.
So just substitute it any way we want to for rice.
And you can put it in soups and stuff, and it's great in crock pot cooking. It's perfect.
And you mentioned that it has a lot of fiber in it, but it's also a good source of protein, isn't it?
Yeah, it has 8 grams of protein, equal to quinoa. So it's if you're hooked on quinoa, you might want to try this as another alternative. It has a different texture.
It's a little chewier, isn't it?
It
kind of
is.
holds up, well, like you mentioned, the crock pot cooking, it holds its texture.
Yeah, and it absorbs a lot of flavor. So, like a lot of the cooking I do has a lot of spices, and you throw it in there. But what else is cool is the freekeh comes in a couple of different flavors as well. So, folks who want a quick, fast meal, like for a little side dish, you can just cook it up straight out of the bag because it has some seasoning in it, and it's low sodium.
Well, and you mentioned it can be used as a side dish or add the meat to it, and like this is a one-dish meal, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
no
making
cleanup.
Right, it's super easy, like super fast. Basically, this one, it's like one of my one-pot meals. It's lemon dill chicken, and you throw in some carrots and saute those up. I've already kind of got it started for you, and then you put in a bag of the dry freekeh with 2.5 cups of chicken broth or water, either way, and let the freekeh just start cooking.
It just sort of absorbs, just like rice does. It absorbs the liquid.
And then you add a little bit of pepper, little pepper, and just a little bit of salt. You ever use that Himalayan pink salt?
No, I haven't tried
this
it.
stuff's great. It's got
that's
lots
what
of.
this is.
It has tons of minerals, and it's really pure. It's found in these caves in the Himalaya. It's awesome.
Oh, I'll have to look for that.
And then all you do is just put this on simmer.
And the smaller the pieces, the faster it cooks.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in a little bit of a rush and you want to, make it go a little bit faster, just let that cook that way. Turn it up just a fraction, and a little bit of garlic. I love
taste.
garlic. Yeah, I love garlic. But
Garlic has lots of uses. It just makes your kitchen smell so good. Everybody's going to have a great appetite.
Oh, absolutely. And so then this one's pretty much done, except for we'll just cover this and let this simmer for about 20 minutes, and it kind of poaches the chicken so it's super tender and velvety, yummy.
But not overcooked because of the moisture.
And right towards the end of the cooking, you can add some a little bit of fresh dill, and a little bit of lemon. And then you're good to go. And so if we were to come back to this in about 20 minutes, all the vegetable broth will have been absorbed, and everything will be all flavored up, and then you just...
That dill smells good.
I know. You put a little bit of lemon right there at the end, and just...
It's ready.
There you go. And just grate with like a little asparagus.
And we were talking about the original freekeh, but it also comes, and you use the roasted green wheat in this one, so it gives it comes with its own flavor.
Yeah, that one's got rosemary sage in it, so I didn't have to add a lot of other spices. So that makes it nice and fast too.
But if you only had the original on hand, you can just add whatever spices you want to it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, that's a one-dish meal. I noticed you added a few other veggies, which we really need to encourage all
Yeah.
of us to get our 5 or more servings in every day.
And you can add lots of carrots. I mean, you can use this sort of as a base recipe to add other things too, you know. So that's,
And if you wanted to cut the chicken like in cubes, then it would almost become a stew.
yeah,
And make that
absolutely,
add
yeah.
more liquid. And then jambalaya is something that we always look forward to. And those of us who like spicy food really like to spice it up. But you don't have to. That's the good thing about
Right.
cooking at home.
Well, and that's another great one for if you have some leftover vegetables in your crisper, you can just throw whatever in there. And for that one, what I do is I cook up the freekeh ahead of time in a saucepan.
And for this one, you use the
Tamari.
tamari.
And surprisingly,
rosemary in
it's
it?
actually it's an Asian organic soy sauce is what it is.
Oh.
Low sodium soy sauce, which I know sounds weird with jambalaya, but it's delicious.
Oh, I wouldn't have
It's
thought about
really
putting
good. It just
rose-
adds another layer of flavor. So I pour that in with 2.5 cups of water or broth, either way, and then bring that to a boil and let it simmer, and then it ends up looking like this one.
About 20 minutes is
Yep.
all it takes.
And then while that's cooking, in the skillet, you can just saute up some chopped up garlic and some onion and some sweet peppers. And for this one, don't laugh now, I use 10 cloves of garlic for this.
Oh, so you like that
I
garlic
do,
flavor.
yeah,
I
keeps the
bet it
vampires
smells-
away. But it's really delicious. And I also use this really spicy andouille sausage. And you know, they have all these great chicken sausage now, andouille sausage.
turkey,
Yep. But for this one, I use this vegetarian one. It's really delicious.
Oh,
it's made
certainly
with
looks
grain.
like meat, doesn't it?
I know, yeah. And some chili powder. Lots of chili powder in that. It's pretty spicy.
But you might, if you're just making it the first time, you might want to add a
Right.
lesser amount and
Yeah.
keep tasting.
Yeah. And then right at the last minute, just throw it all in the skillet and put in some shrimp, and you're done. It's super easy. Only takes about 25 minutes.
Well, and the good thing about it is, like you mentioned, whatever, if you don't have a whole head of broccoli, you certainly couldn't make the broccoli as a side dish. But if you got just 2 or 3 of the little flowerets, you can add that or whatever.
Absolutely. Like, it's also really good with diced up squash and zucchini. You know, like, I don't know if you have a garden, but, you know, they just grow so crazy. You're like, oh my gosh, you're giving
What
them
am
to
I
all
gonna
your
do with
neighbors.
it?
Yeah, so you can just dice that up in little small pieces and saute that up in there, which is great. And it also, like if you've added a little bit too much spice to it, that's a really great vehicle to add to it to cut the spice a little bit if you have some guests. If you haven't ruined the meal, if you've put way too much cayenne pepper in or something.
Well, yeah, and sometimes we do overdo it. Where do you find freekeh? Is it there by rices and couscous?
Yeah, it's in that same grocery aisle next to quinoa and rice and stuff, and it's in a lot of little health food stores and Whole Foods.
So mostly just start looking for it or
Yeah.
asking for it.
It's a fairly new product, so you know it's making its way nationwide. But yeah, it's definitely available online
Is
too.
it inexpensive to buy?
Yeah, it's about $3.99, about $1 a serving. It's about $3.99 per bag. So it's about the price of quinoa.
And just keep it in the pantry. You've got it ready, and like we were talking earlier, if you can make up quantities of this,
Yeah.
like on the weekend, freeze it in maybe 1 ounce bags or
Right.
whatever.
Or even like these kind of one-pot meals. What I love to do is I'm single, and I'll make a whole skillet of it and portion it out and put it in Ziploc bags and put it in the freezer.
Right.
And then I'm good, like to just have a quick lunch, ready to go.
That's a great idea. Anytime we can cook ahead, it really does.
I know.
There's no excuses for not eating healthy, is there?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. I've really learned a lot about this. I'm anxious to try it and see how
Awesome.
it tastes.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed the show today. Next time on Creative Living, we'll learn how to make a frame using flowers and dragonflies. We'll show how to make snack cakes and also how to use photorealistic stamps when making cards or scrapbooking. One of my next guests is a mixed media artist and designer, and she's going to show how to decorate a wooden frame with rubber stamped images and chalk pencils to add color. Another guest will show how to make snack cakes, which can be decorated for any occasion, and they're good for kids or adult parties. Just use lots of imagination and be sure to have plenty on hand for seconds. And if you already do a lot of card making and scrapbooking, you know how many stamps are available. Another guest will show a new image style of stamp in a range of botanical designs, and she'll demonstrate different ways to use them. All of these topics will be featured on the next Creative Living show. If you ever have comments or suggestions or ideas for shows, you can email me at cheryl.borden@enmu.edu. I'd also like to ask you to become a fan of Creative Living on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and in the search window type in Creative Living with Sheryl Borden. Thanks so much. I hope you'll plan to join me next time for Creative Living.
We are very pleased to offer a new booklet that accompanies this series of Creative Living. This booklet is titled the 6600 Series, and it features a wonderful collection of ideas and information, and it's available free of charge on our website. Posted as a PDF file, you can simply download the entire booklet, or just the segments you're most interested in. As with all of the Creative Living booklets, you'll find information on foods and nutrition, clothing and fashion, health and beauty, home decorating, and much more. For your copy of this booklet, go to our website at KENW.org and then click on Creative Living. Scroll down to the booklet section and you can click on this booklet or any of the other booklets we have available online. Once again, just go to KENW.org, click on Creative Living, and download the booklet titled the 6600 Series. We also want to encourage you to sign up for our free e-newsletter. Just click on the Sign Up Now button and input your email address. That's all there is to it. You'll enjoy reading an up-to-date newsletter filled with interesting topics and information. Thank you.